what I wanna, innovate what I'm gonna. You can hate all you wanna, but you're still in your pajama. Now I ain't a prima donna, but I built what I wanna. You can say my vision's wrong, the tune of my song broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Broke my thumb, banging to my own drum. Hootin' and clapping, boots I am a strapping, a click click clacking. Hurrah! Bootstrapping in America. Yeah, bootstrapping in America.
America.
Todd Connor in the house. You are the CEO, the founder of The Bunker. Come create and conquer.
Yes, sir.
I like it.
Good, thank you.
It looks like the Stanley Cup.
It does look like the Stanley Cup.
It's got a little Stanley Cup in it.
I get a lot of questions about what that looks like.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
That's the short answer. So we did a lean startup. I said, we need a logo. I don't want to spend more than 30 seconds talking or deciding because we just want to get this thing out. And so we did a design contest, and this is what people came back and voted on. This is what they liked.
I like it.
It's a door. It's a torch. I don't know.
Right. I think it's the Stanley Cup. I'm going with Stanley
I
Cup.
like Stanley Cup. That's better. That's
Got a
a
little
good
Stanley
Chicago
Cup
story.
to it.
Yeah.
So, all right, give us the elevator pitch.
Sure. So The Bunker is a veteran-owned business incubator. We are housed at 1871. 1871 is the tech co-working space in Chicago, right? So it's 50,000 square feet currently. We're at 1871's adding another 25,000 square feet in October, and we're going to be in that 25,000 square foot expansion. We are right now in the process of selecting the 10 initial incubating companies, building the
What do you
team.
have to be an incubating company?
So we have an open application process. So people are coming to us with lots of things. We've had about 30 veteran-owned businesses come to us.
What is a veteran-owned business? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so 51%
51%.
ownership of the company is by a person who has been honorably discharged from the military. So they've served on active duty in the armed forces, and they've gotten out of the military, and now they're starting a business.
Okay.
We're primarily looking for post-revenue companies, which is a little bit different. So who we're primarily talking to are companies where it might be a 1 or 2 person shop. They're in the West Loop, they're in the city of Chicago. They have a business that is post-revenue, it's early, but it's viable, and they have a sort of growth plan.
And do they have to house themselves with you?
Yeah, they do. So we have so for the 10 companies that we want physically with us, they have to house with us. We also have a sort of virtual membership option for people that want to be part of the community. But
How many people can you hold?
So our planning assumption right now is 20 individuals, but we're prepared to flex up to 40 in short order. And I mean, I think we could be there.
For 10 companies, 40 people.
Yeah.
So these are very small companies.
They're primarily very small companies.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a couple companies that we've talked to that have a national presence, or some individuals work remotely. So it might be a 5 or 6 person company, but they've only got 2 that actually show up to a physical office.
So what's the whole thing with veterans? I'm just curious. Like, are you a veteran?
Right. Yeah. So I'm a Navy veteran.
Okay.
Yep, served 2000, 2004 in the Navy on the USS Bunker Hill. Got a missile cruiser. Spent 9 months in the Persian Gulf in the early stage of Operation Iraqi Freedom. And the thing with veterans is veterans have a high propensity to start businesses. They disproportionately go out and start businesses. They're natural entrepreneurs. They know how to get it done.
Why is that?
Because I think the military requires that. I mean, the military is an organization where it's intense, it's fast moving, there's a mission, you got to meet it, and it's like you don't have a lot of wiggle room or excuses.
So it's a need for action.
It's a need for action, yeah. And to get it done amidst hardship circumstances, which is, by the way, what entrepreneurs do every single day.
Sure, it's a risk. It's a risk being an entrepreneur. It's a risk being in the military, for sure.
I can't. What was the movie that won the Academy Award for Best Picture a couple years ago? The guy that disarmed the bombs. You know what I'm thinking about?
Do
you know what I'm thinking about?
Green suit and looked like.
Do you remember that movie?
I don't think I do.
Which one? What is it?
Hurt Locker.
Oh, Hurt
The
Locker.
Hurt Locker.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So the Hurt Locker, the guy comes home from does his tour, does his multiple
Just like
tours.
the Hurt Locker.
Yeah, does his tour. He comes in and he's walking down the aisle in Walmart looking at baby diapers, and he's like, "Get me on the next plane back." And I got a job to do.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like that just came to my head when you started talking about that. And I think that is it. I think it's just a need for I just think it's it's what you're built, it's what you're made out of.
Yeah, I think veterans, they get used to doing big, ambitious projects.
Yeah.
They come back to the civilian sector, and I think they find that they are underselected for roles. They find that they are some of them are struggling with employment, but they also have an ambition to do something bigger. And so there's a natural, I think, tendency to go and start companies and become creators in what they're doing. The interesting thing about the companies that we're talking to is they're a little bit below the radar in terms of the startup scene. I mean, they're older. I think the average age of the founder that we're talking to is like 38, 39.
Oh my God, they're ancient.
Well,
Like
I mean,
grandparents.
but you look at some of the startup scene, and we have this idea in our heads that being an entrepreneur is all about being 25 and being a technologist. And these are people that are actually landing customers. They're a little bit older. That may not be as savvy on the technology, although some of them are very savvy on the technology. But they're sort of focused on building businesses, and they're not confused about, the difference between getting a customer versus building a product. They know that building a business is about getting more customers, and so they're off kind of with that charter to do that.
But this is, for you, this is you're a nonprofit, right?
Yeah, so we're structured as a nonprofit, right?
Right. So
But all of our businesses are for profit.
Of course. But the bunker is a nonprofit.
Yeah, correct.
But so why for you? I'm just curious. Is this something that you've always wanted to do?
Yeah.
Like, is this your way of saying, I can change the world? I'm just trying to get a picture.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, I run a business called Flank 5 Academy.
Called which one?
It's called Flank 5 Academy. So I'm an entrepreneur with a business called Flank 5 Academy.
Flank.
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 Yeah.
Oh,
Flank,
you're all about
those.
those. Flank 5 Academy.
Yeah, I run a business called Flank 5
And
Academy.
what does Flank 5 Academy do?
So we're a professional coaching program. So we're a sort of alternative graduate school where we take people through a 10-week course where they come to us typically post-graduate school saying, I'm not happy being a lawyer. I don't like being a banker. I don't like being a consultant. But I know that going back to graduate school isn't going to solve it for me. So we take them through a 10-week process to really figure out what they want to do with their lives and to make a plan.
Okay,
Right.
cool.
So that's my business. And in parallel, I started a conversation with colleagues really in the startup scene saying, what are we doing around veterans? I sit in this weird place where, though I'm a veteran, I also have lived, in the civilian community, and I understand this sort of translation exercise that needs to happen. Howard Tallman, 1871, they really wanted to do something for veterans, and I sort of showed up and we started the conversation. We put a plan together, and so, and then quickly, the bunker got announced as something that we're going to go launch with. So it wasn't some artfully planned design. It was really like, I think it was just born out of the need, and I was just advancing the conversation to say, we got to do something for this.
Yeah, Howard actually came on the show and told us he was going to do something with veterans, and we had no idea what he was talking about, and then you show up.
Yeah, here I am.
So now we got it. So this is really cool. How many companies have you selected so far?
So we've got, about 5 or 6 that we have tentatively extended invitations to. They're interesting companies. They're across sectors. We've got a stock trend spotting company that's doing a interesting sort of daily snapshot of stock trends. We've got a mental healthcare company. I know, right? We've got a mental healthcare company. Flank 5 Academy is my company will be one of the 10 that's there. We've got a Credit Serve, which is looking at an alternative lending mechanism for active duty personnel. So they have that. There's a really interesting company called Sky Farm, where Army veterans have taken drone technology and embedded infrared sort of scans on the nose of it to actually look at agricultural yields. So, so the companies are really interesting. Very few of them are just a pure play kind of like website.
What are you able to provide outside of just the space and I guess obviously all the support and the collaboration? But what else are you able to give back? What else are you able to? Are you giving money? Is there some kind of a challenge? I'm just curious.
Yeah, sure. So here's what the founders are coming to us saying. Because really the question is like, why would a founder choose to come to?
That's right. Why would he? Right. That's what I'm trying to get.
Here are their pain points. Number one is they actually like the fact that we're not taking an equity stake in their company. It keeps it pure for them. 2 is they want to get access to talent, which 1871 has a lot of. They're in growth mode, so they want to hire young, smart talent to sort of glom onto their business. 3 is they want to access investor community, right? And that's a lot of that's built into 1871, but we're also building another layer of that, of veterans who are interested as angel investors and taking a look at some of these companies. And the 4th thing is some of them want to learn how to tap advantaged veteran markets. So the federal government, the state government have veteran-owned business set-asides that are untapped. The state has a 3% goal of spending 3% of their revenues with veteran-owned companies. They landed about half of 1%.
And you're going to teach them how to get.
So part of what we're doing is building the capacity around that to say we'll get you through veteran-owned certification. We'll help you compete for federal contracts and understand sort of procurement wickets that you need to jump through. and raise the visibility of your business. And so that's been kind of what they're coming to us saying is what they like about the bunker.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
See, like
and they know of other incubators, by the way, and they haven't chosen those incubators or those accelerator programs. Part of what they also like about us is we're a longer-term 6-month community. They don't want to come into a 3-month program where at noon they stop their business and receive classroom instruction. They just want to plow forward with their business, and any learning that happens, they want it to happen early morning or late at night. So that the core day is spent building the business.
I never understood how companies can go somewhere for 6 months. Like it's weird to me because I don't know how it's such a short period of time. It seems like it goes by like in a day.
Yeah, well, I mean, and 6 months is longer than most of the accelerator programs that are out there are typically 3 months. So I mean, 6 months is already longer than that. We have an option to extend 12 to 18 months, but we want there to be a focused period where they're really having a conversation about their growth strategy.
Now, is this unique?
It is unique.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of add-on programs at universities. Patriot Boot Camp is a program run by Techstars. It's a 3-day program. A lot of what the universities offer are degree-bearing programs around entrepreneurship. They're targeted at veterans. And so there's a lot of non-veteran-run organizations that have a veteran outreach component to what they're doing. But I think this is really the first veteran-owned, veteran-led effort where we have a structured curriculum for 6 months. We take companies in. Focusing on them being post-revenue, I think, is different as well.
So why Chicago?
Chicago's a great town. I mean,
Are you from Chicago?
Yeah, I'm a Chicago native, so that's part of the story. I mean, I think 1871, the center of gravity that it's created, the support politically. I mean, the press release that announced this was a quote from me, a quote from Howard, the mayor, the governor. That's unique. I mean, that doesn't happen in L.A. That doesn't happen in San Francisco or New York.
Agree. Right.
So pulling together the political support, the investor community, which is already pretty congealed here in Chicago, and the veteran community, I think makes for a good story. And being a Midwest town, I think gives us reach throughout the Midwest and into the South, which is where a lot of our veterans have landed.
Todd, it's a great story. I have to tell you, there's almost no holes in the story, which is what's really interesting, because it seems like you got one of those crazy, like everybody wins, as long as you're willing to kill yourself over this, which it sounds like it sounds
like
6 months
because
you're cheap, right?
With veterans, not like he's killed. You're willing to work real hard.
I mean,
this.
as long as because obviously, if somebody like you is willing to do everything that it takes to make this, it sounds like everybody wins, which is kind of cool.
Here's what I'd say: like veterans understand, like. Sometimes you just get handed the mission. Like I found myself in a spot where I'm like, look, I'm in a unique position to actually, I think, pull this off, and so I'm going to do it. Yeah. And the story that I want to make sure your audience hears is
your legacy, man. It's good.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think for the veteran community, I mean, it's like we all have something to give, and everybody, all the veterans that I talk to, like they just want to get involved. They want to help. They want to figure out a way to make this work. And here's what I want to say to the investor community is that, and really the audience in general, is like this is not a charitable effort. Like part of the story that we're trying to create with the bunker is that helping veterans isn't just there's 47,000 nonprofits that are out helping veterans, and a lot of them are in the spirit of veterans are broken and they need help. Yeah. Our story is veterans aren't broken, they don't need help. They actually want to get out there and create businesses, make money, become entrepreneurs.
We feel the exact same way. We have the same approach.
And let's create a vehicle for them, sort of an avenue for them to go and do, meet that mission on their own terms.
Yeah. It's the whole. This is opportunistic. It's not enabling. It's opportunistic, and we are and we come from virtually the same background. We look at everything the same way. We're just in a different field. Yeah. It's an unbelievable story. It's great, and I wish you guys. I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Awesome.
A year or two from now, and see what you've created there. But it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
No, I appreciate you guys, and it'll be more fun in 6 months. We can start bringing the companies on the show.
You're still taking applications, correct?
We are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Bunker Incubator. Yeah, absolutely. So companies that want to come and invest, companies.
You
that
don't
want
care
to
where
apply.
the company is, right? They don't even have to be in Chicago.
No, in fact, I mean, I'd say 50% of the conversations and calls I'm getting are from companies outside of Chicago.
Come to Chicago for 6 months, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah,
Thank
one or
you.
two companies have actually committed to relocating to Chicago. So I mean, it's a good Chicago story.
That's why the mayor and that's why the governor are on board and everybody else, because that's what it is. That's how you bring good ideas, creativity, and jobs here. Yeah. Good job.
Good job. If somebody wants to reach you at the bunker, how can they?
Yeah, so Todd at bunkerincubator.com is probably the easiest way to find us.
And what's the website? Bunker Incubator?
Bunkerincubator.com. Yeah, and we've got a lot of information there on how to apply and how to get involved. If you're an investor, you want to be a mentor, you want to be a business that applies, or an entrepreneur in residence, which is our internship program for veterans that want to work in the startup scene.
Great story, Todd. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
We're going to be back in about 3 minutes. We got Good Trade, Bad Trade next. You listen to Taste Trade Live.